it's been actually a good time ago since I saw the first time the the first trailer for the Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X and X-2 collection for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita or whatever. And yeah, those are again HD remastered games from basically from the PlayStation 2 era or whatever you want to call that. So, well, I don't think if people know what the differences are going to be. Well, even I don't really am quite sure what is Square going to do with these games, but let's talk about some that could make into these games because it's a fun topic I think. So of course, Final Fantasy X is going to pretty much be the same. I'm pretty sure that both of these games are going to have trophies because why not? We all love trophies, so um, I'm pretty sure that they are going to add the Dark Aeons or whatever they are called and penance. So yeah, I think that's the only difference, or well, it's not really a big difference since I think that the European version of Final Fantasy X had those enemies. So yeah, Final Fantasy X is going to be pretty much the same with better graphics and trophies. So and the Dark Hounds and penance. And then there is Final Fantasy X-2, which I think is going to have the bigger difference since there's a Japanese version of that game that never really got released outside of Japan. Well, I don't think many people know about that game since it's well only it has been only released in Japan. Well, and there are big differences. Um, of course, there are two extra jobs added in that game, which I don't know how they are called right now, so I don't think I'm not even going to mention their names. So yeah, and the other big thing is that you can capture any enemy in the game, I think, and even some NPCs. Well, we can't really call them NPCs now since you can use them. Well, not really use them. They act on their own. You basically give them some abilities and they act on their own AI. So yeah, you just hope that they work. That if you use some of those AI enemies or NPCs or whatever, that they just will do the right thing and you can win that battle. Well, I have been played that Japanese version and the AI is not really bad, so most of the time you can basically capture the first boss, and if you customize it right, it can beat the second boss in the game. So that's a really cool thing. So that in the Final Fantasy main game, X Final Fantasy X-2, you are going to be able to capture basically any enemy in the game and use it in battle. And I think that they all carry over, and that there is another extra mode that you can basically go into some tournaments or whatever, and you can use those captured enemies and even Yuna, Pain, and Riku to beat any tournament. I don't know what you get there, some extra stuff, I don't know. I think you unlock even some. I don't know if you unlock some new enemies that you can use or whatever, since you basically capture them from the from the world map or the dungeons you've been inside of. So that works a little weird. It doesn't work like in Final Fantasy X, but it works. So that capturing thing, it's basically a little bit luck based, but it works. So that's an interesting thing. So these tournaments work like you have to basically collect some enemies to unlock some tournaments. Of course, you have to beat the previous tournaments to advance to the next tournament. And in the very last tournament is the strongest boss in the game. So that's I don't know, major numerous or what? I think that's its name. So that's something different. And there is also another thing in the X or Final Fantasy X-2. I don't know why I want to call it X2, but yeah, that's a random thing. So in Final Fantasy X-2 there is other extra story added, the last mission or whatever, which is basically a dungeon crawler mission. You select either Yuna, Riku, or Pain to go in to basically explore this new area that you've never really seen before. And yeah, you are on your own. You go and fight some enemies, you fight some bosses, there are some cutscenes. I'm pretty sure that everything will be translated if they add this, since in the Japanese version inside here they speak Japanese, and well, in the main game X2 or X-2, I'm sorry about that again, that they speak on English but everything else is on Japanese. So if you can get this Japanese version, you are able to play it, but it is nice to see that everything is translated. The if you customize your monsters, you don't have to think about, well, what is that going to be. If you use some items, you can basically see what your enemy, or your not enemy, your customized monster is going to have, what kinds of abilities there are going to have. And I think that every monster can basically use any job in the Final Fantasy X-2 main game or X-2 main game. And that dungeon crawler last mission thing, well, you again use all the jobs. So if you die, you basically lose that job, lose all the levels that you have in that job, and basically you are revived in another job that you have, or class or whatever you want to call it. And you can combine two jobs to level up. So, well, it's two of the same, I think. That's how it works. And then you level up to level 2 or whatever. So I think you have to combine two level 2s to level up to level 3 and so on. And again, there you use all the jobs, all the abilities that those jobs have. And it's pretty fun, But, if you play the whole game on Japanese, it is hard to figure out what these abilities do. So I don't know what your expectations are for this game, but these are mine. I hope that if Square Enix releases these two games for the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita, that they are going to add all these features, the whole Final Fantasy X-2 Japanese game, and of course the European version or the international version of Final Fantasy X. Trophies, we can always expect trophies, since that those are kind of fun things to collect. And yeah, I think I covered anything. So if you have any other things that you think that are going to be added in these games, you can leave in the comment section. And yeah, I guess I will see you all next time.